Welcome back. For Women's History Month, we are honoring the incredible women in leadership around our area.
And today we are joined by Kendall Tyson, the SVP of Finance and Business Intelligence at the Seattle Kraken.
Welcome, Kendall.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. I'm so excited to hear all about your job because it just seems like a dream job that so many people want. So you work in Finance and Business Intelligence. Break it down for us. What does that mean and what does it entail?
Yeah, so for the Seattle Kraken, I oversee all of our accounting, our forecasting, and kind of everything on the finance side. And then on business intelligence, I focus on the business aspects. So you might hear things around Moneyball and kind of the analytics of the players. Not quite my area. I focus on tickets and sponsorship, food and beverage, all of those pieces, and how do we track and report how we're doing as a business.
Cool.
So you grew up as an athlete. Talk to me about how that portion of your life informs what you do now.
It's absolutely huge. You know, I grew up in Minnesota, which is a very strong hockey culture. I always tell people, you know, it's hockey in Minnesota is like football in Texas, right? It is everything that people are focused on. And so I grew up around the game of hockey, but growing up, I didn't see women in hockey. I didn't see minorities in hockey. And so I actually grew up playing basketball. As a basketball girl, I watched a lot of UConn, Tennessee basketball on TV. And so that really kind of shaped, okay, I see myself on TV and in them, so I wanted to play basketball. And it taught me a lot of skills, not just on the court, but leadership skills, cooperation skills, which I think really helped me in my role today, because not only do I have a passion for sports, but I also recognize what it means to be a leader of a team with different individuals.
Definitely. So how did you make the switch to hockey, and what was that journey kind of like?
Yeah, so that switch came really by chance, actually. My brother had a chance run-in with Todd Lewicki at a skating rink down in Renton, and they made a connection and said, you know, hey, you should talk to my sister. She works in sports, and I was working in golf at the time. And so met with Todd, and we had a great conversation about analytics and what he was trying to really build here in Seattle from the ground up and how I could help. And that's what helped me kind of make that transition, was the combination of my knowledge of hockey, but also really bringing the functional skills to the business.
So we're going to ask you to pull back the curtain a little bit and tell us, what is it like working for the Kraken?
Yeah, you know, when I started with the Kraken, it was still NHL Seattle. So it was very early days, and it's very much a startup. You know, not very many people get to build something from the ground up, especially a sports franchise. And so I think first and foremost, everyone really appreciates the opportunity that we have in starting something new, because it is so rare. I think the other piece is it's an incredible place from a diversity standpoint. Diversity is really a core value of ours. And not only do I see us, you know, talk about it, but I see it every single day, whether it's the number of women in leadership positions, the number of BIPOC people on staff and in full-time roles in particular. It really does kind of center into everything that we do. And that's really exciting. And then lastly, you know, it's a hockey team.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun. We get to watch hockey during the day. We talk about hockey. And I think it's really neat to kind of bring your work life also into the community, right? So the things that I do on an everyday basis, I get to talk about with my friends and see them at the games and share those memories with them and their families as well.
That's so cool. I feel like I can relate so much to that with like our show, starting something new, women-led team, like just being with so many people. It's like very relatable. That's awesome. Do you have any advice for, you know, women who want to get into sports?
Certainly. I think, you know, one of the things is, you know, if you have a passion for sports in any sport, whether it's gymnastics, golf, other things, there are roles for you. And I think that's really important to know. And anything that you're good at, right? Some people are good at writing. Some people are really good at math. That all of those different roles exist, and to not be afraid to dive into the things that you're really good at and combine them with your passion for sport.
So I get the sense that in fields that are not even or female dominated, there's always the sense that you have to work extra hard to prove yourself if you're going to be on the business side of sports. So talk to me about how it is that you make space for yourself and how other women should make space for themselves, because, you know, I can only imagine it's awful to walk in and people start quizzing you on hockey.
Yeah, I think, you know, the way you make space for yourself is knowing what your skill set is and being really, really good at that. You know, I think sometimes there can be pressure to be good at a lot of different things and we can kind of get lost. But women have superpower. We're very, very good at bringing lots of pieces of ourselves into the business, and it makes it thrive. And so I would say, you know your skill set, know what you're really strong at, and just go for it. Be your authentic self. Because if you try to be anybody else, that's where I think it can get hard and you get tripped up.
For sure. Do you go to a lot of hockey games?
I go to a lot of hockey.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's so exciting.
It's so fun. I've been to 2 Kraken games, and they were like 2 of the highlights of my time in Seattle so far. So you have such a dream job.
Well, thank you.
And, you know, lastly, I would love to hear from you. I think hockey in general is still considered a bit of a homogenous sport when we're on the ice. So talk to me about the importance of making sure that, you know, Black and brown children get the chance to experience hockey and maybe one day be one of the greats.
Yeah, I think there's nothing like it, right? It's one of those areas where it takes work and it takes intentionality. And I think the work that we're doing up at the Kraken Community Iceplex really does speak to that, whether it's offering scholarships or modes of transportation. Lowering the barriers of participation is incredibly important, and everyone should get a chance to play such an incredible and fun sport, whether they play it at the NHL level or they play it collegiately or just for fun. I think it's a really, really great game for everyone to be involved in.
Beautiful. You did a wonderful job, and thank you so much for joining us today. It was lovely chatting with you.
Appreciate it.
All right, well, coming up, we are chatting with